Hello. Thank you for volunteering for the academic decathlon, and thank you for taking a few moments to view this in advance training video. Please note that prior to our actual competition, we will have a question and answer session that you can go through things in more detail. The intent of having this training video, as well as the printed instructions in advance, is to give everyone an idea of how this virtual competition will flow. If this were a physical competition, many of you know this, you would show up at a school, you would be assigned to a particular classroom, you would physically be seated, students would walk in the door, they would either go through their speech process or an interview, you would fill out a paper ballot, send it on its way, and the next student would come in. Obviously, this is a tough year for that to happen, so we are using the Zoom video conference platform to assist with both speech and interview. This is fundamentally how it will flow. As a judge, you have access to a link. The link should have been emailed to you or some other method delivered the Zoom link to you. There is one Zoom link for speech and another Zoom link for interview. When you join that link, ultimately you will be assigned to a breakout room within Zoom. So you will join the link. We will go through a short Q&A supplement to this training, and then you will be assigned to a breakout room. When you initially join your Zoom meeting, you will want to test your computer audio. When you join Zoom, you will have a prompt that asks you to join with audio or to test your speaker and microphone. If you click Test Speaker and Microphone, this is what you will see. You will specifically see an item that asks you if you hear a ringtone. As I hear a ringtone, I will click Yes, and now Zoom is prompting me to speak and pause. I can hear my replay, so I will simply click Yes. And now I know that I am connected to Zoom properly. I will then click Join with Computer Audio, and I am connected to my Zoom meeting. The next thing you will want to pay attention to in your Zoom meeting is the ability to control both your microphone and your camera. If you hover over your Zoom meeting window, you will see down in the lower left there is a button that says Mute, and there is a button that either says Start or Stop Video. If I click the mute button, it turns off my microphone. As a speech judge, you will likely want to keep your microphone muted while the student is speaking. As an interview judge, you will want to keep your microphone on, as that is a fundamental premise of interviewing. Now let us talk about renaming yourself within Zoom. When you arrive to the Zoom meeting in the main meeting room, you may already have a name assigned by Zoom. If you've used Zoom previously, this is likely to be the name you used in your last meeting. If you have a Zoom account, you are probably named with that Zoom account name. If you are using a corporate computer or a computer that has accessed Zoom before, you may be labeled with whatever the login info is for that particular machine. However you are named when you arrive in Zoom, we ask that you rename yourself to reflect your judge number and your room number. There are a variety of ways that you can do this. One of which is in the lower left-hand corner of the screen where you see the mute button, your name may appear. And depending on the platform of Zoom that you have, you either click your name or you right-click on your name to bring up a window that says Rename. It will bring up a pop-up window that prompts you to type in your new name. In this instance, Speech Room 1, Judge 1, and this judge's name is Brian. Clicking OK will label Brian for the remainder of the Zoom session as SP1, J1, and Brian. A second way that you can rename yourself within Zoom, if there happens to be multiple individuals within the meeting room, you can go to your picture, and in the upper right-hand corner, there are three dots, sometimes referred to as an ellipsis. You can choose rename from there,
That brings us to the same pop-up window where the same process can be run, simply renaming. In this instance, our judge is in speech room 2, judge 2, and our judge is named Naira. Once everyone has renamed themselves, and in this instance, students have arrived, in speech room 1, what we would see is a student number 8884 named Riley. Here are our judges, Brian and Christine, along with our timer named Nicole. Another important topic when you are in this speech room is the ability to pivot between what's called gallery view and speaker view. When you are in the meeting, in the upper right-hand corner, you will see a button that either says speaker view or gallery view. For ease of demonstration, I am showing a screenshot here of what gallery view looks like, where we have our student, our 2 judges, and our timer all occupying an equal amount of real estate. If you click the button that says speaker view, you will see something that looks like this, where the individual that is speaking, in this case, the student, gets a larger amount of real estate than the other individuals. Each judge and the student can set up their own view. So a student could be in gallery view and a judge could be in speaker view. It is a customized view. The recommendation here for judges is to be in speaker view. Thus, when the student is speaking, you will see a larger screen of the student than you would in gallery view. Again, in the meeting, upper right-hand corner of the screen, you will see the option to pivot between gallery view and speaker view.
And now let us take a moment to look at what it takes to share screen. In a speech contest, the timer will typically share their screen to share impromptu topics such that the student can see the impromptu topics. We share it here in case the timer has technical difficulties and one of the judges may also need to share screen. Within your Zoom window, you will see a button at the bottom that says share screen. If you choose share screen, it will bring you to a selection screen that allows you to either share your full screen or a very specific application that you have open. I would suggest the timer and potentially the judges have a window open that has the impromptu topics. If you choose the particular window that has the impromptu topics and click the share button, what the student as well as the judges will see is a shared window that contains the impromptu topics. You can expand this, you can make this larger to allow the full set of topics to be visible. When you are done, or when the timer or the judge, whoever is sharing, is going to stop sharing, they simply click stop share and they will be returned to their camera view. So in the case of a impromptu topic, this screen will be displayed for 1 minute. The student will have 1 minute to choose a topic to prepare their response, at which time the timer will stop sharing the impromptu screen.
When you are in the main meeting room, you will ultimately receive an invite to go to a breakout room. This will be something fairly simple. A pop-up will appear asking you to join the breakout room with the wording that it is inviting you to join a particular room, should match up to the room you've been assigned to. When you click join, you will be transferred to a breakout room.
Please don't leave the virtual room. There are breaks built into the schedule. Please leave yourself logged in, but don't leave the virtual room. You may leave the physical room wherever you are, but don't leave your virtual room. And finally, when it is time for the student to exit the breakout room, the student will click Leave Meeting. It will typically bring them a pop-up that says Leave Meeting or Leave Breakout Room. It is important that they choose Leave Meeting. If they leave the breakout room, they will go back to the main meeting room, which is not a huge crisis. However, the meeting facilitator will then simply tell them to leave meeting. So remind your students when they are done with their interview or their speech, click the button that says Leave Meeting
If they are prompted a second time, choose Leave Meeting. As a judge, when you are complete, if you wish to return to the main meeting room following all speeches, you can click Leave Breakout Room. If you desire to simply leave without returning to the main meeting room, again, you can also choose Leave Meeting. Before we move on to additional topics about the tournament itself, there is an additional item for you to be aware of related to the breakout room. In every breakout room, at the bottom of the screen, there is a question mark, an Ask for Help icon. If you click the Ask for Help icon, the host of the main room will be notified and will either visit your room personally or have one of the tech support individuals join your meeting to help you resolve connection issues, short staffing, or any other dilemma. And now let us take a moment to walk through the speech evaluation form. This is something that each judge will prepare for each student, and there are 3 distinct steps for the speech portion of this form. The first takes place prior to the student arriving, or immediately after the student has arrived. This is where you as a judge populate basic info, including your email address. And for purposes of this demonstration, I will simply use sample@usad.org. As a judge, you know which room you are in. So you click the radio button for the room you are in. As an example, I am in speech room 1. You can populate your name, and I will again populate myself as Neil Sample. I am judge number 1 in speech room 1, so I click that radio button. And most importantly, when the student arrives, you will confirm their student number. They may introduce themselves by name, which is wonderful. You are concerned as a judge that with what their student number is. So for purposes of this activity, I will populate this evaluation form with student number 9998 to clearly show that it is a sample ballot. I will click Next, and that brings me to the second page, or the prepared speech portion of the evaluation form. After the student has delivered their prepared speech, the timer will start to take them through the instructions and the setup for the impromptu speech. While that is going on, judges, it is your responsibility to populate this evaluation form, scoring the student. This training video is not intended to tell you how to choose a number, but simply to show you the logistics of populating that number. So for purposes of this demonstration, I am simply going to sequentially go through numbers, so it is very clear that this is a sample ballot. I will click each of these radio buttons. When I am done with that evaluation, I click Next, and it will bring me to the impromptu portion of the speech evaluation form. The student will then deliver their impromptu speech, and as a judge, following the completion of that impromptu speech, you will again populate the appropriate radio buttons for the delivery of that impromptu speech. After the student has left the Zoom meeting room, the timer will inform the judges if there is a timing penalty associated with either speech. For purposes of this demonstration, there is not a timing penalty associated. If there were, you would click the appropriate speech or potentially both. And as a judge, you may also have the opportunity to populate feedback that goes to the administrators of the tournament. This is not feedback that goes to the student. For purposes of this demonstration, we don't have any feedback to share. We'll simply click Submit. And fortunately, this has appeared. You may see the reCAPTCHA type of activity appear when you submit a form. This may appear or this may not appear. It is in essence Google Forms attempting to verify that you are not a robot. It may be traffic lights, chimneys, stairs, cars, bicycles, motorcycles, parking meters, crosswalks, or a variety of other items, simply click the squares, click verify, and your form will be submitted. This will bring you to a window that asks you to submit another response. Assuming you have another student arriving, click submit another response, and we will begin the process again.
And now that we have walked through the speech evaluation form, would like to make you aware of a personal style choice that you will make as a judge in a virtual room. Some judges find it helpful to have two separate devices, thus one device that they use to watch Zoom and another device that they use to prepare their speech evaluation form. Some judges find it friendlier to have a single screen in front of them with multiple tabs open in a web browser such that they can participate in Zoom, click a different tab, and prepare their speech evaluation form. Some judges use a single device with two different monitors. The piece of advice here is simply do what works best for you that will allow you to cleanly prepare the evaluation form and maintain contact with the Zoom room.
And now that we've been through the logistics of joining Zoom, renaming, ensuring we're comfortable with audio and video, let's take a look very briefly at how an actual competition would flow. Our student will join the room, the judge's timer will greet the student, the timer will immediately move into an explanation of the timing of the prepared speech.
Come on in, and we will start with your prepared speech, which is 4 minutes in length. When you have a minute remaining, I will hold up the green card. When you have 30 seconds remaining, I will hold up the yellow card. And then when you are to stop, I will hold up the red card. Your time will start at your first spoken word. Go ahead whenever you are ready.
While the timer is explaining, the judges are making sure that their appropriate front page of the evaluation form is filled out correctly. The student will then deliver their prepared speech. Following the completion of the prepared speech, the judges will fill out their evaluation form for the prepared speech. While this is going on, the timer will explain the timing associated with the impromptu speech, again using timing cards. The timer will display the impromptu topics and give the student 1 minute to choose a topic, prepare a response to that topic, and be ready to respond.
When you have a minute remaining, I will hold up the green card. When you have 30 seconds remaining, I will hold up the yellow card. And then when you are to stop, I will hold up the red card. I'll screen share here in a second. You'll have 1 minute to prepare your speech. Time up.
When that minute is complete, the student will again deliver their impromptu speech. Following the completion of the impromptu speech, the judges will fill out their evaluation form, submit it, and ask the student to leave the meeting. Again, thank you for joining, thank you for watching this preview video, and thank you for supporting our students.